Love triangles can get pretty complicated sometimes, but have you ever heard of a love square? Well, that's sort of what was going on between these two girls and two guys. You see, Hana was in love with Mr. Kanai, her older brother figure who had known her since they were little. But Mr. Kanai had his eyes on another woman, Miss Minagawa. Miss Minagawa also had a little brother who was in love with her. But here's where it starts to get juicy. That little brother of Miss Minagawa wanted love so bad that he decided to rizz up Hana and use her as a replacement until he found a way to get Miss Minagawa to love him. Hana felt the same way too, so she agreed to date him as a replacement for Mr. Kanai. Hana had always had feelings for Mr. Kanai, but when she heard he would be teaching in her class, she was over the moon with excitement. After class one day, she ran to the teacher's lounge to deliver some stuff to him, but that was when she saw it. Mr. Kanai was flirting with one of the female teachers. Hana's heart sank. From that day, she would always rage out in her mind every time she thought of that woman. To her, the woman was giving middle-aged skank. I mean, Hana had always done everything with Mr. Kanai. When she was little, she even did a 3-legged race with him, even though it was supposed to be between her and her parent. The other kids pointed at her and told her she was doing too much. But Hana dissed the girl who came at her the most, and everyone's attention pointed to her. Hana ran away to a corner to be alone, but Mr. Kanai met with her and suggested they eat lunch together. So yeah, Hana had every reason to be pissed at Miss Minagawa. One day at school, Hana bumped into Minagawa. She was too stunned and irritated to properly react or say anything, but another student came up and helped Minagawa up like some alpha male type dude. Hana was wondering who the heck this guy is, but as soon as she saw his eyes, she knew he was in the same situation as him. His name was Mugi. He loved someone he shouldn't, and they didn't reciprocate. That someone was Minagawa. They went to the top of the school to survey their respective love interests as they made googly eyes at each other. As Hana and Mugi kept spending time with each other, they got closer naturally. One day, they were hanging out at Mugi's house while it rained. Mugi, being the alpha that he was, turned his back to Hana and started playing games. But just turning his back wasn't enough to stop his aura from coming out of his body, because all of a sudden, Hana clinged onto him a little too intimately. Mugi didn't lose his composure in the slightest. In fact, he pulled her to the bed ASAP and started making craters on her neck. Hana wasn't really feeling like doing anything, but as soon as Mugi told her to imagine he was Kanai, she got super into it and they had their first kiss. Well, first for Hana. Mugi is well experienced, as expected from someone who has his Riz stats maxed. Their little session was interrupted by a message on Hana's phone. It was from Kanai, and seeing it just made her more upset. Mugi, being as upfront as ever, asked her if she wanted to continue doing stuff like this together. Hana took a day, but she eventually agreed. So, they both made a pact that they could have everything about each other except their feelings, and if one of them made it with the one they really loved, the relationship would end. And with that, the story of their scummy wishes began. It was the end of another school day. Hana went to Mugi's class to walk home with him, but Mugi was no simp. He told her that he had duties to attend to. His classmates, however, told him they got him covered for the day, and he should go. So Mugi got his stuff and went to meet Hana. When he got outside, he saw Hana talking to a girl who Hana called Akan. Akan wanted to walk home with Hana instead, but when she saw Mugi, she told Hana to go ahead with him. Hana obviously did. As they walked home, Hana asked for Mugi's water, and after she took a sip, Mugi went into light skin mode and pulled her in for a kiss. But one random girl yelled at them not to from behind. What kind of rude rat does that? Well, turns out the rude rat has a name, but it's too long to remember, so everyone just calls her Mocha. Hana remembered her as the girl who tried to turn everyone against her when she ran with Kanai all those years ago. So, after Mugi told Mocha that he was with Hana, Hana grabbed Mocha by the collar and basically told her to stay away from her man. The next day on the rooftop, Mugi told Hana that she was a bit too harsh on Mocha yesterday, but Hana told him he should reject her already and stop leading her on. Mugi just changed the subject and asked if she was jealous, but Hana was apparently just possessive. She wondered, though, if that was just it. Another day came, and Mocha was yet again clinging to Mugi. Hana was trying to have a lunch date with him, but Mocha kept interrupting. So, Hana chased her off and finally had some alone time with Mugi. Girls slowly started to hear news of Hana dating Mugi, and one of them decided to ask Hana for advice on something. The girl told Hana about her situation. She was in a love triangle and didn't know which guy to pick. Hana told her to go with her heart, but the girl just wanted to pick the guy with more to offer. Hana was so confused. Is this how girls really think? Hana was out having lunch with Akan later and asked Akan if she too liked guys just because of what they offered. But Akan said that she liked them because of how they made her feel, and Hana was so glad that her friend wasn't a heartless person. Hana then asked Akan if she liked anyone, and Akan coughed up her food a little. Seeing that reaction made Hana know that she did, so she invited Akan to her house for a sleepover. Akan didn't show it much, but she was super excited. She got there early the next day and everything was going smoothly. But as soon as she shut the door, everything went wrong. One thing led to another, and Echan was on top of Hana and lipsing her. Hana was so confused as to what in the good Lord's name was going on. Echan first met Hana when she was going to write the entrance exam for high school. Echan was getting some unwanted action from a stranger on the bus, and Hana came to her rescue. Hana held her hand till they got to the school, and just from that experience, Echan fell in love with Hana. Now, at the sleepover, Echan was just trying to play it cool and enjoy spending time with Hana alone. At night, she had to share a small bed with Hana, and it was taking a lot for her to keep her composure. She was doing relatively well until Hana turned to face her and asked what kind of person she liked. Echan couldn't hold herself back anymore and kissed Hana. Echan went on top and stared at Hana. She asked Hana why she was with Mugi when she didn't even like him. So, Hana told her the situation. That just made things awkward, and up until morning, Echan just stayed in silence and left afterwards. When the morning came, Hana went out on an errand for her mother. She bumped into Mocha on the way, but completely ignored her. Hana thought back to what she said to Echan about those girls who liked guys for what they offered. She said that if you keep trying to choose both, you'll lose both. And she now realized that she was doing the same thing. Meanwhile, Mugi was fast asleep and dreaming about his middle school affair. It was with this one girl who everybody was trying to get with, and he was the only one who managed to rizz her up and succeed. You could say he ruffled around and found out. The affair didn't last long though. He went on to high school and she didn't. Now he was back in the real world. He woke up all bricked up, and Hana was waiting patiently beside his bed. He quickly covered himself, but Hana jumped into bed with him. In a desperate attempt for her not to see him bricked up, he pulled her to his chest so she wouldn't look down, but his efforts were futile. He couldn't hide something that hard forever. As soon as Hana noticed, she spoke up. At that point, Mugi realized the cat was out of the bag, so he told Hana to calm the brick down. Hana went ahead, but she didn't know the proper technique. After a few instructions from Mugi, Hana started getting it, and he ascended to Cloud 9. After a few hours, they were both resting, and Hana asked him why he hadn't come out of the covers the whole time. Probably because his brick cooled down all over her dress and he was embarrassed. Hana went to play with him a little, but she started crying after a while. She told Mugi that she wanted to try to love him, and Mugi smiled. They both went to get something to eat, and as they were talking, Minagawa came walking down with a guy. Hana and Mugi noticed, but didn't say anything to her. Minagawa also didn't want to mince words, so she left quickly after the gut kept getting handsy with her. But before she left, she told Hana to keep it a secret. The next day at school, Mugi told Hana that he knew the guy Minagawa was with, and it was probably nothing. But Hana could see through his denial. She knew it wasn't just platonic. So, she went to confront Minagawa herself and asked if she was dating the guy, but the bell rang before she could give any solid answers. So, Minagawa ran off and told Hana they would talk after school was out. Minagawa, ever since she was little, has always loved attention. She would exploit others not just for the fun of it, but also because she'd rather die than let someone else exploit her. And this habit of hers followed her to this day. She looked for the attention of men any way she could, and once she was over the man, she just dipped and moved on to the next. So, she was basically a very big farming tool, particularly one used to till the ground. And now, she had her edges sunk into poor Kanai. He's being used just for his attention. She had also set some kind of plan in motion for Hana. I wonder what it could be. After school was out, Kanai was waiting in the music room, just like Minagawa had told him to earlier, before Hana arrived. Kanai wasn't one for overly big shows of emotions. He was always very subtle when it came to feelings of any kind, but from the first day he set eyes on Minagawa, he felt like it had to be fate that brought him to her. He got close to her any chance he got, but he wasn't able to put himself out there and tell her how he felt. So, when Minagawa came to the music room, he finally blurted out how he felt, and Hana was right there to hear everything. She ran to another room in the school to be alone, but she couldn't even cry. She realized she didn't make any effort in the first place, so she had no right to cry. She went to Mugi's place to try and be consoled by him, but she decided not to burden him just for her own sake. She went for a walk instead, but was called back by Echan. She had been following Hana this whole time. Hana ran to her and gave her a hug. She apologized for not figuring out that she felt that way. But Ekin told her it was okay and embraced her as well. They both went back to Ekin's house and it started raining. Under the sound of the rain, Ekin took advantage of Hana. She knew Hana couldn't say no to her advances because she cared for her. So, she took advantage of it and did all the things she had been wanting to do to her. Hana could sense that with every touch, it was from someone who cared about her. Hana wanted to tell Ekan that she should stop, but since she couldn't, Ekan just kept going and told Hana that if there was any way she wanted to take advantage of her as well, she should not hesitate to speak up. After the passion subsided, Hana walked back to her house alone in the rain. She could hear voices of her younger self saying that she had ruined her friendship with Ekan for good. Hana already realized this. So, she decided that since Minagawa was playing dirty, she too would step up and try to beat her at her own game. The next day, she went to confront Minagawa about the whole situation. But of course, she was smug the whole time, saying that she didn't even like either of them. Hana asked her why she took pleasure in seeing men chase after her even when she didn't feel the same. And Minagawa replied that there's no better feeling than that. Yeah, she's a really big farming tool. Mugi was lying in bed after going out to get something, and he was talking to himself. Turns out he knew all along just how much of a big farming tool Minagawa was, yet he still kept wanting to be with her. He didn't tell Hana because he thought she wouldn't understand. He thought back to when he first found out Minagawa was a farming tool. It was during the period when he was still dating his crush from middle school. The crush told him, but he didn't want to believe it. So she took him out to see for himself, and when he did, he cried himself to sleep that night. Ever since that day, he saw her as this hopeless, fragile little girl who couldn't do without a man. But he admitted that after a while, he fell back into her trap and was fawning over her again. He started to feel lonely again, thinking about all this. So he called up his ex for some comfort. When she came, she didn't waste any time. She asked to go straight to a motel, and when they finished getting jiggy, she left without even spending the night. Damn, that's cold. The next day, Mugi started acting cold, and Hana noticed it immediately. She thought it was just one of those days when they didn't feel that close and brushed it off. She didn't even tell him about the recent happenings that went down with her. She wondered why, and her conclusion was that she was probably fine with Akan and didn't need Mugi anymore. But even as she said that, she embraced Mugi and kissed him passionately. She said to him that she knew he slept with someone, and he said he knew she did too. Hana had tears roll down her eyes. She knew that it was painful to keep going on with the farce. Yet, it felt so good that she couldn't control herself, and Mugi felt the same about it too. They both found an empty room after school and started making out in it. Midway through, Mugi mentioned that she hadn't come to visit him in a while. She didn't have an excuse, so she just stared at him, and that set off something in Mugi, seeing her embarrassed and shy, but still looking directly at him. Eventually, they went back to his house and straight into his bed. Hana told Mugi that she wants to go all the way to Jiggy Town this time around, but Mugi had his reservations. Eventually, he figured he might as well. But let's just say, he was too big to ride the roller coaster. Hana curled up next to him and asked him why they couldn't do it. Mugi told her it's because they don't love each other. Hana tried convincing him again, but he said no. So she wore her clothes and went back home. Side note, don't these guys have family? How are they able to just go for booty calls at any time they like? Anyway, when Hana got back to her house, she was sad that she was alone. She hated being alone. The next day, Hana wondered when she became so weak to the point of needing to sleep beside someone at night. She saw Minagawa up ahead and just planned to walk by her. But Minagawa, as she passed by Hana, whispered that she went all the way to Jiggy Town with Kanai last night. Hana was devastated. Hana was sick and tired of losing to Minagawa. She wanted the feelings that she got from other guys all for herself, even if it meant hurting someone. She decided she'd rather use someone and have those feelings than be lonely. The younger voice in her head said she was just acting like a kid, but she didn't care. So, after school, she went to meet with Mugi and agreed to be his girlfriend for real. Then she went to meet Ekan and told her. She decided she wasn't going to use Ekan like that. But really, Ekan was probably the only one who wanted to be used. Hana couldn't take it and just ran off. The next day, Hana had a headache from not getting any sleep last night. So she went to the library with one of her classmates for some quiet. While she was there, Akan came in and joined them. But Akan wasn't there to read books. She came to have some fun with Hana. While everyone else was reading, Akan caressed Hana a little bit too much, but Hana didn't say anything. She decided to be quiet about it as punishment for all the stuff she put Akan through. Later that day, Hana was in the medical center. Apparently she had a fever. I guess the heat from her body was natural in a different way. While Hana was in bed, Ekin kept kissing her. Even in sickness, she couldn't keep away from her. Not sure if that's cute or just desperately sad. Probably a little bit of both. Later the next day, Hana's mother asked her to run to the store and get some stuff. While she was out, she bumped into the guy that was with Minagawa at the diner. At first, she wanted to get far away from him, but she remembered her plan to get all the guys that Minagawa liked to like her instead. She decides to flirt with him, and easily enough, he got her number and wanted to meet the next day. While they were out, at some point, the guy tried to kiss Hana, but Hana found a way to get out of it somehow. Hana then realized that if she chickened out here, she would be letting Minagawa win. So she improvised. She told the guy that she was still scared, even though she wanted to do it. The guy held back and said they would take their time before getting to that. Hana walked home alone and passed by Kanai's house. She cried at the thought that she still couldn't be with him, then went home to bed. She had a dream of when she was younger, and Kanai assured her that their relationship would last forever since it wasn't a romantic one. That reality check woke her up and she started to cry once again. The next day at school, Ekin went to meet Mugi and warned him that Hana was being quite free with guys a lot lately. Mugi didn't want to believe it. After all, they had just decided to start dating for real. When he met up with Hana in the evening, he asked if she wanted to come over and she said no. At that point, he knew that she had been behaving like a certain farm tool we all know. He walked back home alone, and just before he entered, Mocha stopped him. She told him that Hana didn't really like him, and he should choose her instead. But Mugi thought her honesty and straightforwardness was boring, toxic masculinity at its finest. He then threw caution the wind and jokingly asked her on a date. Mocha, knowing that this chance would probably not happen again, said yes. Ever since she was a girl, Mocha had always wanted to go on a date. But she could only think about Mugi, so it didn't really count as a date. She didn't even remember the face of the guy she was with. How brutal. Well, all that is, by the way, because now she had a date with Mugi himself, and she wanted to look the prettiest she had ever been. Partly because of Mugi, but she mostly wanted to do it for herself too. Hana was on a date as well, but with the guy from the diner again. While they were at a restaurant, he snatched her phone and made her get so close to him. She slapped him across the face and walked out. Here's now where he started acting like he didn't have brain cells. He said he would make it up to her in a motel, and when that didn't work, he said they should go to a motel anyway. Hana was pissed that he could only think about getting jiggy, but his response was that it was normal since he's a guy. He then whispered in her ear all the stuff he wanted to do to her, but while he did that, he got a call from someone who wanted to let him get to Jiggy Town with her. So, he left Hana and walked off. Meanwhile, with Mugi, Mocha suggested a movie to watch. She asked if Mugi was okay with it, and from his response, he seemed more indifferent than okay. While they were watching, Mocha moved to hold his hand, but she realized something. As much as she lived him and was willing to put up with him not reciprocating, she longed for him to do so. Just like how Hana longed for someone to obsess over her, just like Minagawa. After she got rejected by the guy from the diner because she wouldn't free it up, she decided to call Mugi so he could comfort her. But Mugi didn't answer her call and focused on his date with Mocha. After the date was over and they were heading back home, Mugi asked Mocha why she hadn't looked up at him the whole time. Mocha was too focused on making the date a memorable one so that she could replay it in her head forever. But she caved and couldn't hold back her feelings anymore. She told Mugi that she loved him. Mugi took her back to his place, and they laid in bed together. Mocha kept hearing her inner self saying that this was a bad idea and she should let Mugi go, but she just couldn't. She was too much of a simp and Mugi just kept giving off his alpha male aura. She couldn't resist. She ended up embracing him, and once they kissed, everything went south from there. Or should I say up for Mugi, if you know what I mean. Mugi started undressing her, and the more he took off, the more he felt bad. He didn't want to take advantage of her innocence just because she loves him. So he told her he couldn't go all the way. Mocha burst into tears. She told him that even though she was that important to him, she wanted to still be taken advantage of. But after a while, she got over it and just left. The next day, Hana and Mugi decided to meet up. They concluded they would tell their real crushes how they felt, and once they got rejected, they would start to date for real. Hana and Mugi realized that they had a lot of assignments packed up for them, and with entrance exams coming up, they weren't sure how to quickly finish up and start reading for the exams. While they were contemplating how to go about it, Mugi said that he was going to tell Minagawa how he felt after he finished his homework. Hearing that made Hana decide to do hers after her homework too. She wanted to piggyback off his momentum so she could get it done quickly after studying for a while. They got distracted and started to get handsy. Mugi cut it off in the middle, saying that he was scared to go through with telling Minagawa how he felt. Hana told him to just pretend she was Minagawa like they initially planned. But Mugi realized that somewhere along the line, he stopped seeing her as a replacement for Minagawa and started seeing her as just Hana. Hana liked that, but she was too embarrassed to say anything. So Mugi took the lead and just said they'll see where things go. He walked her home, and as he walked back, fireworks started displaying in the sky for everyone to see. Hana went to her room and began preparing herself for what she was about to do. She thought of fond memories of her and Kanai. Memories that, if he had remembered, she could have used as her reason for living. But it was all in the past, and she had to look to the future knowing she had tried as much as she could. The next day came, and the time for them to confess drew closer. Hana was scared of going through with it, but Mugi was a gentleman and comforted her. They agreed to meet up the next day in the park to finally start their relationship for real. Mugi went to meet Minagawa at a public place. Minagawa didn't like the open, so she wanted to go to a cafe instead. When they got there, Mugi just blurted out that he used to like her, but he told her that he also knew how much of a big farming tool she was. Minagawa, being the snake she is, tried to play the innocent girl role, but Mugi stopped her before she could. However, his big boy act didn't last long because he still followed her to a motel. He said he wanted to be the first guy she cared about, but he knew that wouldn't happen, so he just lost himself in her arms. Hana was having a similar situation. After Kanai came and she told him she liked him, he embraced her and even apologized. He was so clueless about it that he felt sorry, but Hana knew it had to be like this. Because now that she had gotten rid of that dream of hers, she could finally move on and not have to be alone again. I hope it's as simple as she imagines. The next day, Hana woke up with a headache from all the crying and mental duress she was under yesterday night. Mugi apparently didn't show up at the time they concluded. All he did was send a message saying sorry. Hana wasn't sure if he was comforting her for being rejected or apologizing because he couldn't let go of Minagawa. Most likely the latter. Minagawa probably sunk her fangs into him and made him stay attacked even longer. Is her cat really that nice? Anyway, Hana had just been heartbroken on both ends, and when she thought she couldn't do anything, she got a text from Akan asking her if she wanted to go on a trip. Of course, she immediately said yes. The trip was to a vacation house owned by a relative of hers, and Akan had made sure the house was vacant, so they would be the only ones there. But she didn't account for her cousin. He called her house and found out she was coming here, so he got there before she did. Atsuya apparently loved her, and it wasn't a family type of love. Ekkan obviously turned his advances down, but he was just as resilient as she was and wouldn't back down easily. Ekkan told Hana to have her bath first after dinner while she cleaned up with her cousin. While they were doing the dishes, Atsuya kissed her on the cheek and Ekkan sprayed water on him. She was pissed at him because this trip was her chance to finally make Hana hers, and he had ruined it by being there. Atsuya told her to drop the act. He knew that she knew Hana would never be hers, but she just wanted to have one last clean memory together with her. Atsuya told her she was trying to do too much and would get hurt. But Ekkan barged off and told him to not interfere. That night, Ekkan did all the things she wanted to do to Hana. Hana, as always, was passive and didn't resist. But Ekkan once again took advantage and continued. The next morning, as Hana got out of bed, her hand hit against a book. When she bent down to read what was inside, she couldn't believe what she saw. It was a sweet wrapper from the first day they met. Ekkan had kept it this whole time. Hana went out for some air and saw Atsuya. He offered to go for a walk and she agreed. When they got to the lake, Atsuya came out and told her to quickly decide on her feelings for Ekkan. He told her she shouldn't use Ekkan as a replacement. Hana knew this better than anyone, but she wanted the moment to last for a while longer. She promised herself that this would be the last time she took advantage of Ekkan. After spending the whole day with her, Hana and Ekkan got home and started playing games. Atsuya went upstairs because he had a cough. Playing the game reminded Hana about how she used to play with Kanai, and that almost brought her to tears. But Ekshan embraced her before she cried. Ekshan then told Hana that she had decided to let her go for good this time, and she walked away. Hana asked her why, and she said it was just too painful. Later, Hana followed Ekkan into the rain and tried convincing her to remain friends with her, but Ekkan was too hurt to continue doing that. So Hana told her that she'll wait until she's ready to open up to the world again, and until then, she should remain her friend. Ekon agreed, and they shared one last kiss. Summer soon came to an end, and Hana went back to her usual school routine. She felt lonely, but she was hopeful it would get better. Meanwhile, Mugi was still getting down with Minagawa as often as he could. Bro went from being an alpha to a real simp as soon as Minagawa said yes to him. Minagawa thought about all the times she had crossed the line with the guys she had been with. Every time she did, she felt excited. Seeing how the person became angry or sad or just broken, it gave her a sense of purpose, and it was the only thing she knew. Now, she was on her way with Kanai to a small town for a trip. When they got there, Minagawa stopped putting on her innocent act. Kanai said he preferred her when she didn't, and told her to act like that in school more often. But of course, she refused. They checked into their room at night, and Kanai went out to enjoy the view. Minagawa, however, wasn't interested in the view. She just wanted Kanai to come and check out her cat. But as much of a simp as Kanai was, he refused to succumb to her tactics, and he went out to go get water when she suggested they stay in bed. Minagawa was confused. She couldn't understand why he was so hesitant to get in bed with her. Later, Kanai went for a soak in the hot springs. He couldn't believe he was actually out on a trip with Minagawa. When he was done, he jumped out of the spring and went to get dressed. But while doing so, he stepped on his glasses and he couldn't see anything. He had to struggle to get back to his room. When he did, and he saw Minagawa, his eyes sparkled. Even without his glasses, her beauty was as clear as day to him. Minagawa asked him why he said she could go on with sleeping around, and he simply told her if it's something she liked, then he wanted her to keep doing it, that's all. For the first time in probably forever, Minagawa's heart raced because of a man. She told him that he was supposed to hate it and hate her. She said he was supposed to want more than just her being happy, but he said if he wanted more, he would hurt the person he cares about. But Minagawa told him that even if it hurts, what's important is that you go for what you want. Kanai leaned in and finally kissed her, and she had never felt a kiss so good before. The next morning, they both woke up with a crazy headache. Minagawa assumed Kanai had forgotten about last night, but he most certainly did not. In fact, he asked her to marry him, to which she agreed. She even told him she was going to cheat on him a lot, but he didn't mind. As long as she was happy, he would be happy too. Kids don't try this level of stupidity at home. It never ends well. Speaking of ending well, Mugi and Minagawa met up a few days later for their date. The whole time, Mugi was aware of the fact that this was the last time, but he still kept up appearances. The date was going a lot better than Mugi thought it would, and he was having hope that he would one day help her break free of the boredom in her life and give her meaning. But it was too late. She told him that she was getting married to Kanai soon. Mugi's heart fell to his stomach, because he could tell from her face that she had been relieved of her boredom. She found someone she was interested in enough to want to change. He congratulated her and then walked her to the bridge. But before she was out of sight, he told her that he would always remember her and all the time they spent together. Minagawa turned back around and walked off, while he was left on the bridge crying. It was November and autumn had come around. Hana was still feeling lonely, but she had gotten used to coping with it. Some of her classmates came to ask her to lend them a hand for the upcoming celebration in school. She was going to refuse at first, but the echo of Mugi's words played back in her head, and she told them she'd do it. After the girls walked off, she noticed Mugi passing by, and something pinched her inside. She already knew that things ended badly with him and Minagawa. Kanai told her his marriage would be in early spring, so she put two and two together. She agreed to go to the wedding. No matter how much it hurt, she still wanted him to be happy. Later that day, when the festival was underway, Hana decided to go around and see everywhere before she was needed for her stage duties. She went to a fashion show and saw all the models on the runway. One of the models was Mocha. She looked so stunning that Hana was in total awe of her. Everyone in the audience as well. Hana left the fashion show after a while and went to think about her life choices for a bit. But that was interrupted when she remembered her stage duties. As soon as she got back, they worked her to the bone. She took some boxes to a shed, and for a while, she sat there in silence and enjoyed it. Before she knew it, she was waking up, and the day was almost over. She was surprised she slept for so long, but what surprised her even more was seeing Mugi in the same shed as her. He too came there to sleep and get away from everyone else. The next day was a whole new celebration. The students were putting together something for Kanai and Minagawa to celebrate their union. Hana was tasked with taking something to the shed, which a guy offered to help with. When they came out, the guy tried to ask Hana out, but Achan came to her rescue and scooped her away. Hana asked her why she did, but Achan knew that she still needed her space and was just helping out. Hana thanked her and even burst into tears. She was so happy to be talking to Ekan again after so long. Back in the class, the students were celebrating Kanai and Minagawa. Hana tried, but she couldn't bring herself to join in the festivities. Kanai noticed and instinctively wanted to go over to her, but Minagawa held him back and went instead. She then gave Hana a rose and told her to make sure her next love doesn't get stolen. Later that day, as Hana was heading home, she saw Mugi in the doorway. She flashed back to when they met in the shed. Mugi first apologized, and for the first time in months, they managed to get their feelings across without looking for physical comfort. They talked about everything that happened, before they separated and after they did. Once they were done, the question popped up in Hana's head. What would she do now? And unsurprisingly, she made the somewhat right choice. She chose to leave Mugi. They had both been victims of unrequited love, and they both went through their own rough patches, trying to get what they couldn't have. Hana and Mugi were both looking for love, true love. They weren't certain they would find it. They weren't even certain it would last long or just hurt them again. But they chose to find it anyway, and decided to face all of that apart. They didn't need to be saved by each other just yet, so they were going to keep pursuing it. Their scummy wishes. What do you think about this ridiculous anime? Let us know in the comment section. Thank you for watching our recap, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell for more.